Hi, Siann. How are you?
Good, thanks. And you?
Yeah, really good. It's so lovely to see you.
Yeah.
So, to our audience, Siann um, was with us last year, at the beginning of last year, and it feels like just yesterday. Where are you at the moment?
Well, I came back in France and I'm currently living in the south of France, in Grasse, the main city of the
Oh,
perfume
beautiful.
industry.
Yeah. So, to maybe to anybody who doesn't know much about grass or where it is, could you tell us a little bit about it and how it's kind of, I guess, shaped your journey becoming a perfumer?
Oh, well, so Grasse is really in the south of France. One of the main city is Nice, not far from Grasse. It's really close to the Mediterranean Sea, so really nice landscapes, nice weather. Uh, we are really between the mountains and the sea, so it's perfect to have some ideas to create perfumes, to imagine all these different landscapes in perfumes.
Sounds so beautiful. And are there many like producers around grass? I think I remember chatting to you about you'd sometimes visit producers
Yeah,
when you were
yeah,
studying.
yeah.
What kind of plants are they growing?
um, there are a lot of it's mainly flowers like roses, jasmine, orange blossom. um, some producers are also harvesting iris and geranium. It's mainly this
Yeah,
kind of
beautiful.
flowers. Yeah.
It sounds like heaven. I'd love to be there just to smell it all. And can you tell us a little bit about your time? So, before your internship with us, you were studying at the Grass Institute of Perfumery, which is in Grass as well. And I'd love to hear a little bit about your time there. And I know it was a crazy selection process, and yeah, huge
Mhm.
congratulations to you through going through that. Did you want to share a little bit of insight with our audience?
Yeah. Yeah, so before coming in Australia, I was studying in the Grace Institute of Perfumery. So it's an international perfumery school. So each it's the trainee is 1 year, and each year students are coming from all over the world. So it's really enriching because we all have different cultures, so we have a different way to smell and different memories according to the smell we can discover during our training. So yeah, it was a really amazing experience because of course we are in Grasse, so one of the it's the city where you can uh, really learn the perfumery, because as we said before, we are close to producers, so we can um, meet them, take part into the harvesting, and we also with teachers who are perfumers, so they are really in the this area, in the perfumer area, so they can really teach us how is the perfumer industry, how beautiful is this industry, sometimes difficult, but mainly difficult. So yeah, this school was really an amazing experience.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. So there were 12 of you, and you mentioned they showed you how the beauty of the perfume industry. Is there anything that stands out? Is there like a spark for you that drew you to this industry, and kind of what's your joy there?
um, what I really like, I don't know if it's what you were expecting. Well, what I really like in this industry, in the perfume industry, is the fact that we can create, just thanks to the smell, thanks to raw materials, we can create emotions, um, brings even some memories to people that they think they thought they had forgotten. So it's, yeah, all about that, to just one smell that can
Mm.
bring back to you and your,
It's such a powerful
yeah,
sense, isn't it?
yes,
Like, yeah, I know you'd know this. Maybe it's new to someone listening in that um, our smell. So when we smell something, it travels through an area of the brain that's responsible for memory, which is why it can, yeah, elicit that really beautiful, strong response, unlike any other sense can, with bringing up, a childhood memory or
yeah,
an emotion and feeling. That's, yeah, it's so
yeah,
powerful. Um, so it's very exciting that your new fragrances are almost here. They're being launched in 1 week. And yeah, I had the privilege of watching you create them, and they're beautiful. They're so beautiful. You're very talented. And so would you like to introduce the two perfumes to our audience? You can teach us how to say it properly.
yeah,
There's You can give me a lesson. So Terre et Mer.
yeah. You say it
And
perfectly.
now you can hear the real French way.
Yeah,
Did I
yeah,
say
I
that
know.
right?
Yeah, you say it well. Yeah, yeah.
And Avant la
Avant la
nuit.
nuit. Yes.
Um, yeah, beautiful. So I'd love to share with the audience how they both came about. You started with one material, do you remember? And then you had these two
Yeah,
formulas stream out from that, like two
yeah,
directions, and they were both really beautiful and too hard to kind of choose which direction to go. So you worked on
yeah.
both. What was that material that you started with?
Was it the Nutka essential oil?
Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I remember.
yeah. Did you want to share a little bit? Yeah. So Nutka's uh, Alaskan cedar wood. So it's often distilled from shavings in Canada. And it's an incredible, like, unique smell. It's a hard to find material. We ended up having to chase up. I had run out of my stash, and we had to, yeah, look everywhere to find more, which was a scary moment. But yeah, it's a beautiful material. Can you describe it a little bit to the audience?
Oh, yeah. So the Nutka, you said. Uh,
The Nootka essential oil,
yeah.
the kind of smell of it.
So the Nutka, for those who never smelled the cedar wood before, it really has a strong woody smell, but dry, really dry, even a bit dusty, slightly dusty. It's really, really powerful. Um, and it's also has um, oh, I can't even say. um, there was another facets, but I do remember it. It was one of the reason uh, why I took the Nutka, but I can't even remember this facet.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah,
It has, some people say, like, similarities to like the Nootkeen with the grapefruit peel as well, like that
yeah, yeah.
kind of
This slightly, yeah,
semi-fruity,
fruity.
a bit
Yeah,
leathery.
yeah, yeah. That was,
Yeah,
yeah. That's why also, yeah.
yeah,
It was not only really sharp and dry woody. It was a bit more complex, and yeah, that was really
yeah.
interesting. Interested. raw material.
And I really loved you kind of like with the two fragrances explored its two sides because Terre et Mer is like more it's got the mineral
Mm.
and marine notes, but it also has that really smoky, leathery
Yeah.
base. Um, that is that one facet of Nootka. And then with Avant la Nuit, we haven't shared details of that one yet, but it is this beautiful, like fruity,
Mhm.
dusty fragrance. It kind of reminds me of walking into a cellar filled, it's got that wood, like old woody, dusty
Mm.
kind of
Yeah.
cognac and
Yeah.
fruits. And that's, yeah, explored that whole side. They're really
Mm.
beautiful perfumes. Um, so yeah, I'd be curious if there were more of the lines of inspiration behind the two fragrances. I know with Terre Mer, you had this really magical vision of a specific place that you were kind of recreating through scent. And in your time here, you saw more of Victoria than or Australia because you went to Queensland as well than I think I ever have. Siann was, every day off,
Yeah.
she would drive hours to some
Yeah.
beautiful place. And I'm sure that they inspired your perfume. So, did you want to talk a little bit about, yeah, those two visions?
Yeah, of course. For Terre Mer, I get inspired by all the landscapes close to the Cape Schanck. I was really amazed by all these wild beaches where the all these black cliffs and the sea, the even stormy sea, and all the fields with the dry fields really inspired me for this perfume. I found all these different colors between the blue, the black, and the yellow tobacco color really inspired me, and the smell also between these dry fields and the cliffs doesn't smell, but you have the feeling that you can smell a kind of mineral facet, and of course with the marine uh, notes of the sea was really a mix that I found really interesting. And for Avant la Nuit, during all my journey in Australia, I found that the sunset you have there is just amazing wherever you are,
Yeah,
close
the
to the
sunsets.
sea
Yeah,
or
they're
on the
beautiful.
mountain. Or, the color are just always amazing. Even if during all the day it was a bit rainy, not cloudy, not really nice weather, at the end of the day you always have a really nice sunset with so many colors that you can't really find uh, somewhere else. So it's really for these moments of the day that I've been inspired for this perfume Avant la Nuit.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I really love that with Avant la Nuit. So it's all about, yeah, that kind of in between time between day and night with sunset. And I love it's almost like an abstract painting because you evoke this feeling through smell of a sunset, even though, a sunset
Yeah,
doesn't necessarily have a smell. It depends on the season or where you are. But you really kind of used a lot of materials that smell quite warming and rounded and almost evoke that like burnt, amber, red, orange colors. Um, One of those was Australian sandalwood. And we get our sandalwood from Dutchan, which is an amazing distillery in WA. And I know you went and met with them while you were here. You did some really
yeah,
exciting trips. You went to a couple of sandalwood distillers. You saw a top secret
Yeah.
agarwood plantation. um, did you want to share a little bit about that
Yeah.
experience? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
So was it? It was in.
yeah, because before
Yeah, sorry.
coming in Australia, as I said before, I met producers thanks to my school during my training, and then it gives me this idea to meet producers each time I could. So in Australia, it was the perfect moment to meet producers, Australian sandalwood producers. So I met Dejan. I met others I don't know if I can say Santana and West Corp.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
were all of them were in
Mhm.
Perth, and they were so kind, so passionate, and we exchange about, of course, the sandalwood, and they showed me the some of them showed me the how they produce them, all the different parts after harvesting the woods. Because before that I thought I knew everything about this smell because it's really well known in this industry, but I didn't know
Mhm.
all the know-how that we need in this production of sandalwood, because you can really have different smell according to the woods, the shape of the woods, the part of the wood that you took to distill it. So it was really a good experience, very nice experience.
Yeah, it sounded amazing. Yeah, it's interesting, like getting that behind the scenes insight and realizing, yeah, that even some oils, almost like in the wine industry, they might have to be blended to meet. There'll be like a perfumer or a nose, and they'll be saying, yeah, what characteristics
Mm,
they want that
yeah,
particular oil to have, and they might have to. Yeah, it's a lot more
yeah,
complicated, isn't
yeah,
it, than kind of aware of from an outside consumer
yeah.
point. Um, yeah. So was if you had to say that there was like a particular smell to your trip to Australia, I know that you visited a lot of
Yeah.
places, but if you had to make a perfume that kind of encapsulated your time
Mm.
here, what would the fragrance notes be?
Oh. um,
It's a tricky. I put you on the spot.
yeah, I
A quick fire question.
I think I have two smells. One is
Hmm.
it's a plant that you can find really easily when I was hiking. It was the Artemisia, and
Hmm.
it's in Australia. It has a really strong guava smell, and it was one of the
Mm.
smell that I really, because I could find this plant everywhere in Australia. So,
Mm.
and I really love the smell of guava. So it reminds me my childhood. So yeah, it was really a smell that reminds me Australia. And there was another one. It was not a smell that I could find in the nature, but it was a perfume that a lot of people
Mm.
used to wear when I was just hiking, and I could see some people hiking too. A lot of people
Mhm.
used to wear the Odyssey Miyake, and
Ah,
it
how
was fun
interesting.
because I didn't smell it for a while in France, and I found it quite
Mhm.
fun to smell it a lot in Australia. So yeah,
Yes, in such a different
so
context.
this is the two. I think if I have to choose, it's this two smells that.
It's the two
candle.
standout scents from your,
Yeah.
yeah, I love it. And you talk about how guava reminded you of your childhood. Did you wanna share a little bit about that? Because I think it definitely influences, your own, like, perfume style, and just your adventurous spirit and everything. So where did you spend most of your childhood?
Yes, I spent my childhood in the Caribbean, in on an island called Martinique. It's a French island, and I spent 13 years of my life, so between my 3 years old and my 16. So it was, yeah,
Mhm.
an important part of my life. And of
Yeah.
course, I was always close to the sea, and I'm sure that it's one of the reasons I love all the marine notes when some other
Yeah.
perfumers don't really like, because it reminds them like oysters or like seaweeds and smells less, let's say, glamorous. But for me, all these raw materials, it's for me, it's the ocean. Just the yeah, it gives me,
Such a
yeah,
beautiful
gives me
smell.
a freedom feeling.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's why I think I really like the of the marine note, and I can't avoid
Mhm.
them when I'm creating. I try, but in the
Yeah, they always come
yes.
up. Yeah. So let's talk about creating a marine note because it is, I guess, a more challenging accord to make, especially, maybe like I guess we have. I was going to say, especially with naturals. In with so when you were studying at Grass Institute of Perfumery, you had the full palette of both, yeah, artificial
Yeah,
aromas and natural aromas. And say you were making a marine accord there, you might have like more materials at your dispense. There's a famous one,
yeah,
cologne.
my favorite one.
Yeah, yeah. So, and then coming to work with Cygnet was completely new because we only use 100% natural
Yeah.
materials, and I guess it posed a challenge or just a new way of working. How did you find creating a marine accord
Uh,
with
yeah,
naturals?
it was really, yeah, at the beginning it was hard because, yeah, when I just, you you learn all the synthetic material that brings this marine notes, and you can't use them. You have no choice. You just have to try something else. And we you had the seaweed absolutes, and the first time I
Mhm.
smelled it, I was um, a bit, I was disturbed, even a bit disgusted, because I had the feeling, yeah,
Disgusted,
I had
yeah.
the feeling that I was smelling the food for fish. So it was not really nice
Yeah,
smell.
totally. It's a very strong
Yeah,
fishy.
and I was like, how can I create a fresh ocean smell when you just have the feeling to smell the fishy food? So you just have to try to smell it again and again to just avoid this facet not really nice, and to try
Mhm,
to find all the others, this marine
mhm,
um, and fresh note that you can associate to the marine notes. So it was
mhm.
one of the hardest work to do in the natural perfumery, but it was a
Yeah,
good one.
you achieved
Yeah,
it. So, because it does really smell. And another, I think, important material that you used is we have
yeah,
melanol isolate. And that is similar smelling to cologne, maybe. Slightly
mhm,
different. It's more fruity,
yeah,
like it has this really strong fruity
yeah,
facet. But you managed to work the
mm,
marine fresh ozone side of it.
yeah,
And I think, yeah, paired with that seaweed absolute, really kind of hit that marina
Mm.
chord. And it's interesting, I find, with, talking about how that seaweed absolute smelled disgusting, and it does off a scent
Yeah.
strip. But with perfumery, it's funny, often like a minute amount of something repulsive can create this a real allure in a
Mm.
fragrance, like indole, for
Yeah.
example, as well. Indole is a material, for our audience, that is often found in like narcotic night blooming flowers like jasmine, and it is part of what attracts pollinators, and it's also part of what makes it smell so alluring to us. It's a bit animalic, floral, but yeah, when it's on its own, it's
Mm.
absolutely repulsive,
Mm.
and then you add it in traces to a fragrance and it transforms the whole perfume, and I feel like you did that with the seaweed
Yeah.
absolute, with Terre. Yeah, very, good dosage.
Mm.
Yeah. So did you find overall how, working with, I guess that was one of the biggest differences, was working just with a natural palette, overall. There, what did you find kind of the biggest differences between working with 100% naturals and working with both synthetic and natural materials?
For me, the big difference was that when you're smelling at the end, when you created the formula, and you're smelling, you don't smell what you were expecting, because when you used to create with synthetic and natural, you don't use the same quantity, and for the
Mhm.
you're gonna use a small amount of naturals, because otherwise they're just
Mhm.
gonna hide all the synthetic most of the time. And here,
Mhm.
when you're using only the naturals, you you just have to learn again how to create and to think in a different way,
Yeah.
because for example, the melanol, that is synthetic also, uh, when
Mhm.
you use in formula with not only natural, you put just a small amount, otherwise it doesn't smell good at all. And here,
Uh-huh.
when I've
Yeah.
created this marine accords, I kept this idea, and to put a small amount, and it doesn't smell at all, like nothing, because of the seaweed absolutes. So it was really,
Mm.
yeah, another way to create. Just, yes, you I had to learn again how to create a perfume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very different to work with. They're dynamic and they're so complex. Every material you use is made up of, sometimes hundreds of
Yeah.
chemicals, that might make up that rose oil, for example. So it is so complicated. And then how will they, like, react with, alongside another material? And oftentimes one material will have lots of facets.
Yeah.
So it's like you're trying to bring out maybe one or two, but then, yeah, it can, go the other
Yeah.
way. So yeah, no, it is, totally, yeah, a different experience, but the challenge is rewarding.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's interesting. Like, I think as consumers, we often think that, all perfumes that, even we buy from the department store, are made from, flowers, and people picking flowers and
Really.
distilling them themselves, and it's just not the case. Very often there's, yeah, a very low percentage. They're extremely
Mm.
expensive as well, and I think that's another interesting thing we chatted about was, budgets are often set, and I know with your training you taught, it's a really important skill that you're able to formulate to a
Mm.
budget, because I think, yeah, for a lot of perfumes that are produced on a large scale, it's like an
Yeah.
important factor that they meet budget requirements.
Sometimes it's the main
And
factor.
yeah, that was probably a
Yeah.
different experience here too. I was like, we don't have a budget.
Yeah. Let's
um,
go. Yeah.
yeah, totally. Yeah. So no, it's a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to share them with everyone. Two very different fragrances that started from one line of kind of one working with one material, but they're completely different to each other. I think in many ways complement each other as well. And me and my partner Patrick have been wearing them all the time. And whenever I wear, especially because he's a surfer, he loves the ocean. And if I put Terre on ever, he's like, "Oh yes, you're wearing." He loves it as well
That's
and
great.
wears it all the time. So yeah, it's super exciting. Thanks so much for chatting today. And I know that everyone would have loved to gain a little bit of insight to kind of end the conversation. Did you want to share for any aspiring perfumers out there? Do you have like a tip or advice that you'd like to share with them?
Like, for what do you mean?
For anyone who's kind of interested in perfumery or maybe is like an aspiring perfumer, and wants to, learn more about it.
Uh, ju- First of all, you can just smell everything you have in your hands. Just even when you go for a hike, just stop each time you can and touch things, scratch things, and even sometimes you think there is no smell and you just can find some things that have some really nice smell. So yeah, smell as much as you can. Even the
Yeah.
disgusting things, because sometimes more you smell this disgusting thing and more you can find new facets that are more interesting. So yeah, smell and smell.
I love it. That's a really important and great start, and it's something anybody can do. You don't have to have
Yeah.
materials in your house and raid the spice cupboard or the garden nature strip. That's a really good tip. Well, thank you so
Thank you
much.
to you.
And keep posted, everybody. There'll be a very exciting email in your inbox next week.